Hello everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. So in this video we are going to understand how to create or update Airtable records from Gravity Forms. So are you also using Gravity Forms in Airtable? Then this video is definitely for you. So over here I'm doing the same. I'm hosting an event. So I'm hosting this event, and for that event I've created a registration form with the help of the Gravity Forms. And now I wish that as soon as a new form submission is made, in that form automatically an Airtable record should be created or updated, so that I have all the contact information of my registrants in a single record, and also I can send them the future updates. So to do this, we are going to create a connection between Gravity Forms and Airtable. So to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So if you also wish to learn this process step by step, then let me take you to my computer screen. Welcome to my screen. So as you know, in this video we are going to learn how to create or update Airtable records from Gravity Forms. So as you know that I'm hosting an event, and for that I've built a registration form with the help of my Gravity form. So I'm going to show you the registration form, and over here you can see that this is my registration form. And now I want that as soon as someone fills in this form, automatically the details of this submission should be added over here in my Airtable as a new record. And if the record already exists, that record should be updated. So to do this, I've already opened the landing page of Pabbly simply by searching pabbly.com/connect in my browser. It is very easy. So as soon as we'll open the landing page of Pabbly, we are going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you're a new user, you can click on sign up for free and you are going to get 100 of tasks free every month. But I'm an existing user, so I'm going to click on sign in, and now it is opening all Pabbly apps. Over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm going to click on access now right over here to access Pabbly Connect. And now it is opening my dashboard, and to start with the automation we are going to click on this button which says create workflow. And now it is asking me the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations, and I want to name my workflow as how to create / update records from Gravity Forms. And then we are going to click on create. And now it is opening the most important window of our automation, that is our workflow window. This is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the trigger is the commander for the workflow and actions follow the commands. And as you know that we can have only a single commander but multiple followers. So where we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger. So now I'm going to select my trigger application which is Gravity Forms. So I'm going to search for it, and then we are going to select it. And now for the trigger event we are going to select it as new response because I want that as soon as a new response is received in my Gravity Forms, automatically my workflow should be triggered. And now it has given me a webhook URL. So we are going to use this URL in order to create a connection between our Gravity Forms account and our Pabbly's workflow. So first I'm going to copy this URL, and then we are going to read the help text and follow it. And it says go to your form settings and click on webhooks tab and then click on add new button. So first I'm going to open my Gravity Forms, and over here you can see that this is the dashboard of my Gravity Forms. So I'll let you know that Gravity Form is a plugin of WordPress. So now from the left side bar you can see forms. So we are going to go on forms right over here, and as you can see all the forms that I've already created. So I'm going to connect this Gravity Forms account with my Pabbly's workflow. We are going to go on add-ons from the left side bar again. And yes, you can see that now it has giving me a lot of applications. So we are going to scroll and select webhooks right over here. So I'm going to scroll and look for webhooks. And as you can see webhooks right over here, so over here you can see that I've already activated it. So if you haven't, you have to activate it right from here. And as soon as we are going to activate it, we are going back to our form section again, and we are going to select the form we are going to create this automation for. So over here my form is this, which is event registration form. So I'm going to go on this form first. And over here you can see that this is my form. And now after selecting my form, we are going to go on settings and then webhooks right over here. And as you can see that now it is asking me to add the webhook. So I'm going to click on add new button right over here. And now it is asking me for the name of the webhook. So I'm going to keep it as test connection. And now it is asking me for the URL. So we are going to paste the URL we copied from our workflow. So we are going to paste it right over here in the request URL section. And now it is asking me for the request method. So I'm going to keep it as post only. And then for the request format, we are going to keep it as JSON only. And after doing all of this, we are going to click on save settings right over here. And yes, you can see settings updated. So this means that we have successfully created a connection between our Gravity Forms account and our Pabbly's workflow. And now it is saying waiting for a webhook response. And in the notes, it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture the webhook response, we have to do a test submission. And in order to do the test submission, I'm going to open my Gravity Forms again. And then from here, we are going to open the forms and we are going to do the test submission of this form, which is event registration form. So I'm going to open this form, and over here you can see that this is my form. So now I'm going to fill in the test details and do the test submission. So for the first name, I'm going to keep it as demo, last name as user, email as demoUser@pabblytunes.com, the confirm email as demoUser@pabblytunes.com only, the phone number as this, and then for the gender, I'm going to select it as female, age as 16 to 24, and then it is saying how did you hear about this event. So we are going to select it as social media, and then we are going to click on submit. And yes, you can see that we have successfully submitted this form. It is saying thank you for testing our form. So this means that we have successfully submitted this form, and also this means that Gravity Form has captured the response of this submission and sent the response to our workflow. So I'm going to open my workflow and check that if Pabbly has captured the response of this submission or not. And yes, you can see that Pabbly has captured the response of the submission. Over here you can see the gender, the age, over here you can see the reference, over here you can see the phone number, the email. We are going to move on forward. Where you can see the name too. So yes, with this our trigger step is successful, and now we are moving on to our action step. So for our action application, we are going to select Airtable right over here. So I'm going to search for it, and then we are going to select it. And now for the action event, we are going to select it as search record, because I first want to search the record right over here, that if this record already exists or not. So I'm going to click on connect, and as you can see that it is asking me to add a new connection or select the existing connection. So if you have already connected your Airtable account with your Pabbly's workflow, you can click on select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection and then connect with Airtable. And as you can see that it is asking me for some permissions. So first I'm going to select a base right over here, which is where you can see events data. So I'm going to select the same base right over here because I want to create this automation only for a particular base. So I'm going to select event data right over here. And after selecting my base, we are going to give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. You can also click on grant access because Pabbly is safe. And as soon as we are going to click on grant access, you can see that we have successfully connected our Airtable account with our Pabbly's workflow, and over here it is asking me for the base name. So as you can see that I have already selected a single base, so it is showing one only. If you select multiple base right in the connection, then you are going to get the options to select one from that. And now it is asking me for the table name. So as you can see that I have only a single table in my base, so that's why there is no much option. But if you are having multiple tables, then you are going to get the option to select the one too. And now it is asking me for the field name, and in the help desk it is saying select search field or map search field ID. So where we have to select the field by which we have to search for the record. So I'm going to select it as email ID because I want to search with the email ID. So now it is asking me for the field value. So we are going to map the email ID because we selected the field name as email ID. So now we are going to map the email ID. So mapping is a method by Pabbly, which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Gravity Forms as our trigger application. So we are going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we are going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received in my Gravity Forms. So I'm going to give you an example that over here, if I'm going to enter the email address manually, suppose demoUser@pabblytunes.com right over here manually, so this will not change with every new response received because this is a static information and I've entered it manually. But if I'm going to map it from the previous response, it will definitely change because my previous response will also change. So that's why we do mapping right over here to run our workflow in real time. And as you can see that now it is asking me for the filter by formula, sorting fields, sorting order and marks records. So as you can see that these fields are not the required, so I'm going to leave it as blank because I've already filled in the required details. And now we are going to click on save and send test request. And yes, you can see that we have received this record ID. So this means that already there is a record in our Airtable base with the same email address. So I'm going to open my Airtable, and over here you can see that we have the record of demo user @pabblytudes.com in our base. So that's why we have received this record ID. So now I wish that if I already have a record, then that record should be updated, and if there is no record, then that record should be created. So to do this, we are going to add another action step. So first we are going to close this action step because we have successfully completed it. We are going to add another action step. So for the action application, we are going to select router by Pabbly. So it is a feature by Pabbly which helps you to create the routes in your particular workflow. So I'm going to search for it, and then we are going to select it. And now for the action event, we are going to select it as conditionally run, and then we are going to click on connect. And over here you can see that it has created two routes. So first I'm going to edit the name of these routes. So for the first name, I'm going to keep it as update record. I'm going to update this, and then for the second route I'm going to keep it as new record, and then I'm going to select this too. And yes, you can see that we have successfully updated the names of the route, and then I'm going to open this update records first. So I'm going to click on set filter and action step, and now it is asking me for the filter. So first for the filter type, I'm going to keep it as exist because I want that only if the record ID, which is this, exists, then only this route should continue further. So I'm going to select the record ID as label, and then we are going to click on save and send test request. And yes, you can see success condition is true. So yes, we have the record ID. That's why this condition is true, and this route will run further. So now I'm going to add another action step, and now we wish to update the Airtable record. So I'm going to search for the action application as Airtable. So I'm going to search for it, and then we are going to select it. And now for the action event, we are going to select it as update record, and then we are going to click on connect. And as you can see that it is asking me to add a new connection or select existing connection again. So as you know that I've recently connected my Airtable account, so I'm going to click on select existing connection and then save. And yes, you can see that we have successfully connected our Airtable account, and now it is asking me for the base name. So as you can see that this would be same only. For the table name, so this would be same only too. And now it is asking me for the record ID. So we are going to map this again. So to map this, as you can see that we have the option to select this, but we have to map this. So first we are going to switch on this mapping button, and then we are going to erase the record ID right from here because we are going to map it from the previous response received. So as you can see that we have received this response Airtable, and over here is the record ID. So I'm going to map this record ID over here, and now it is asking me for the lead name. So we are going to map this to from the Gravity Forms response. So over here we are going to search for the name, and as you can see demo. So we are going to map the first name, put a space, and the last name. So we have to keep in mind that you have to map these details with the help of the Gravity Form response. And then for the email ID, we are going to again map it from the Gravity Form response. And over here you can see the email. So we are going to map it. We are going to map the phone number too from the same response. And yes, you can see the phone number. So we are going to map it. So now I'm going to let you know that demo user @pabblytudes.com is already added in my records in Airtable. But as you can see, the phone number is different right over here, and in the form that I've received, the phone number is different. So as soon as I'm going to click on save and send test request, this phone number would be changed with this phone number we have received from the Gravity Form response. So now we are going to click on save and send test request, and yes, you can see that we have successfully updated this Airtable record. So I'm going to open my Airtable, and yes, you can see we are going to refresh this. And yes, you can see the phone number has been changed right over here with the help of our workflow. So yes, with this action step is also successful, and now we are going to move on to the new records. So I'm going to click on set filter and action steps right over here. And now it is asking me for the filter type. So I'm going to select it as does not exist this time. Again, select the record ID as label because this time I want if the record ID does not exist, then only this route should move further. So now I'm going to click on save and send test request again. And yes, you can see status error condition is false because we have the record ID in the previous response. So that's why it is saying the same. So yes, with this action step is successful. We are going to add another action step right over here. And then for the action application, we are going to select Airtable right over here because I want to create the record if the record doesn't exist. So I'm going to search for Airtable, and then we are going to select it. And now for the action event, we are going to select it as create record. And again, we are going to click on connect. And again, it is asking me for the same name. So I'm going to click on select existing connection and then save, because I've already connected my Airtable account once. And now it is asking me for the base name and table name. So we are going to keep it as same only. And now it is asking me for the lead name. So we are going to map it again. So I'm going to go to my Gravity Forms and map the lead name. And after mapping the lead name, we are going to map the email ID again. So I'm going to map it. We are going to do same for the phone number also. So I'm going to map the phone number too. And now it is asking me for the enable typecasting. So I'm going to keep it as false only. And again, we are going to click on save and send test request. And yes, you can see that we have received the positive response. So yes, with this, our workflow is successful, but I'll just test this workflow once. And this time I'm going to give you a real-time example. So first, I'm going to do a submission in my Gravity Forms with the new email address to check that if a new records get created or not. So I'm going to open my forms. And now we are going to do another test submission right over here. So we are going to change the details. So for the first name, I'm going to keep it as test. Last name as user, email as test user @pabblytuts.com. The confirmation email as also this, the phone number as this time, and then for the gender I'm going to select it as male. For the age we are going to select it as 35 to 44, and then for the event reference I'm going to select it as Google, and then we are going to click on submit. And yes, you can see that we have successfully submitted this form. So now I'm going to open my Airtable and check that if a new record has been created there or not, because this email ID does not exist in our account already. So I'm going to open my Airtable, and yes, you can see a new record has been created right over here. Lead name test user, email ID over there, test user @pabblytuts.com, and the phone number as this. So yes, with this our workflow is partially successful, and now we are going to check for the update records too. So again, I'm going to open the form, and now I'm going to use this email address, which is test@example.com. So I'm going to open my forms again. And now we are going to do another test submission. So for that, I'm going to refresh this form. Again, we are going to enter the details as this. But for the email, I'm going to keep it as test@example.com. And now after entering the email, we are going to keep the phone number as this. And then for the gender, I'm going to keep it as female. For the age, I'm going to keep it as 25 to 34. And then for the reference, I'm going to keep it as word of mouth. And now before we click on submit, you can see that I've kept the same email address, which is test@example.com. The name as test demo right over here, and the phone number as this. And over here, you can see that in our record, the lead name is first name, last name, and the phone number is this. So as soon as we are going to submit this form, this will automatically change because I've created this workflow. So I'm going to submit that form. So now I'm going to click on submit. And yes, you can see thank you for testing our form. So yes, this means that we have successfully submitted this form. Gravity Form has sent the details of our submission to our workflow. Pabbly captured the response and further updated the record. So I'm going to open my Airtable again. And yes, you can see lead name test demo, where you can see the same email that we entered, and the phone number is also changed. So yes, with this now I can say that my workflow is successful, and I'll just summarize the workflow for you once. For the trigger application, we selected Gravity Forms. For the trigger event, we selected new response. For the action application, we selected Airtable, and then for the action event, we selected search record. Again, for the action application, we selected router, and for the routes, I selected update record and new record. So here you can see that for the update record, I selected the filter value as exist. So I wanted that if the record ID exists, then the record should be updated, and if the record ID doesn't existed, then the record should be created in my Airtable account. So that's why I created this two routes right over here. So I did all of this because I wanted that as soon as a new form submission is made in my Gravity Forms, automatically a record should be created in my Airtable with the contact information of my registrants, so that I can notify my registrants if there is an upcoming update. And yes, we were successful with our workflow. Over here you can see the two records I created and updated right over here with the help of my workflow. So if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow. Thank you for watching. Not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly, you can integrate many more applications. So now, if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.